Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. First says, I can get why Triple H may have some this is mailbag, by the way, mailbag at WrestlingObserver.com. I get why Triple H might have some personal issues towards Tony Khan and some of the actions WWE has taken, but what issues do you think Nick Khan has against Tony? You think it's a promo Tony cut in 2021 when he said there's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business? I actually don't know if it's personal at all. I think it's just business. They just love fucking with him.
They just want him out of business, you know? And it's frustrating because it's like, you know, like if, you know, in the long run, they can hurt themselves to hurt him. Their business is so strong that they can do that. But it is kind of, you know, again, like with this NXT.
I mean, think about the Monday Night Wars. I mean, how many years was it after WCW died that they just hired Eric Bischoff?
About a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was like personal to a sort of degree, but it was mostly just business. They wanted to beat WCW.
Oh, that was that. No.
It wasn't personal enough that they would never hire the guy. Is my point.
No, they hired him to humiliate him.
They still paid him a lot of frickin' money, and he was employed for years.
No, it's only a year or two, and then they fired him, and he was really good at what he did. The thing is, no, Vince always hires people like, I mean, Vince's MO, if you had kissed his ass, you'd have a hard time getting a job. If you had fucked with Vince, he's going to hire you so he wins in the end. I mean, of course he was going to hire Eric Bischoff. Of course he was going to hire Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and those guys. Did he hire Bobby Heenan, who wouldn't say a bad word about him no matter what Eric Bischoff told him to do? He just said, I will never say anything bad on TV about Vince McMahon. He gave me work. Then when it, you know, was time and Bobby needed a job, did he ever hire him? No way. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, that's Vince. Of course he was going to hire Eric. You know, he hired Paul. But, I mean, if you think that wasn't personal, if you think that Monday Night Wars was
I look at personal differently, I guess.
Vince,
if it's personal, I ain't ever hiring this person. They're out of here.
That's the total opposite of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would, you know, Vince McMahon and Bret Hart was very personal. And Vince spent, let's see, from 2000, when did WCW went into business? In 2001. And Bret finally came back in 2010. So he spent 9 years trying to hire Bret Hart back. Never gave up on it, you know, because that's what Vince is, and that's personal. And there's still a degree of personal to it today. Maybe not on Vince's side. And Bret's probably forgiven Vince for the other stuff, but, you know, I mean, maybe not the Rita Chatterton type stuff. Maybe not as much. But, you know, when Sting came back, Vince is still fighting that freaking war when Sting came back 14 years after WCW was dead, or whatever it was, however many years that was. I think it's 14 years. So no, the Monday Night Wars was, I mean, like from the Eric Bischoff side, I don't think it was really personal. I think that it was more, basically I think that he just wanted to be the guy, he badly wanted to be the guy who would eliminate Vince McMahon and beat Vince McMahon, and it didn't happen. But Vince, it was, believe me, I dealt with Vince. That was personal. He took everything personal like that. But as far as Nick Khan goes, I don't know. I mean, it's enough to where, you know, they'll sacrifice themselves. But I think that is business. I think that they believe that if they can get rid of Tony Khan, they can control the entire business. And as long as Tony Khan's there, they cannot control the entire business. And they are working really, really hard. Because again, like if they failed to stop him before he signed this big TV contract, they failed to stop him when he, you know, went on TV. And you know, even before, I mean, the thing, you know, the whole story from when he started was to, you know, hire, you know, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes and stop him. because that's not a Levesque thing. That's a Vince thing, because I know Vince has said that you cannot leave even a crack in the door open, because he never got over that he left a crack in the door open when he thought he had everything won in the 90s. And then Hogan and those guys came, and he all of a sudden had to go through those couple of years of where he wasn't number one. And he never forgot that. And that was totally personal. And, the whole thing is we cannot leave that crack in the door open. And, they tried to get those guys, and they went with the unproven Tony Khan, which is, 90% of guys would not have done that thing. But, I mean, they were offered to be management. And I think that was like the key, and one of the things was like they were going to get experience in something that, there are not a lot of people in wrestling who have a lot of experience doing management. So that's a good experience to have for later, even if, AEW goes down. It's good experience to have. I don't think it's going to end up ever being relevant, because I don't really see the Young Bucks going to WWE's management. But, stranger things have happened. Vince hired Eric Bischoff just a few years ago again. So, they tried to stop him there. Then when the TV started, they tried really hard to stop him there, and that failed. Then the key was to, make sure they didn't get that contract, and that failed too. So now it's like, boy, they better make sure if these contracts continue to double, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? I mean, they're not going to be just the second. They're going to be like incredibly profitable if they get the next deal to double. I'm not saying they will, but WWE got close to that. UFC got more than that. So, that's the nature. Baseball just got a big increase from ESPN. Or actually not. The ESPN but increase wasn't that big, but the total was a big increase. So, that's the last thing they want is a franchise that's really strong. So that's the new goal, is to make sure to drive them as much down as they can to, I don't think they can make them unprofitable, and I don't think they can make them go away. But if they can get the numbers low enough, maybe they don't get that big deal in a couple of years. And I think that's the goal right now. It's like, you can't really put them out of business, but you can. If you can get the ratings low enough, maybe they'll just go that it's not worth it, and they won't get renewed at a good rate. But they'll get renewed somewhere, because there's so many streamers. Someone's going to want them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll want them at double the value of they have right now. Which is, if everything goes good, that's probably what they're going to get, because that's what all sports are getting.
Are you one of those youngsters today who listens to Spotify? I don't even know what it is. But I do know this. All of our podcasts are available at Spotify. You can head up right now and sign up. The easiest way to do so, f4wonline.com/Spotify. And for just $9.99 per month, you can listen to 84 podcasts on any given month. 84! 2 to 3 podcasts every single day covering pro wrestling and mixed martial arts. And if you think about $9.99 per month, that's just pennies per day. So check it out today on Spotify. That's f4wonline.com/Spotify. f4wonline.com/Spotify.